Imagine a secret mission gone wrong, a CIA agent babysitting a bunch of rowdy kids, and a nuke threat in the heart of Rome. In My Spy, The Eternal City, expect epic action, hilarious mishaps, and a showdown that could blow up the Vatican. Let's unbox this wild ride. Ryan Kay, the country's hottest musician, is riding high after winning the People's Choice Award and dominating the charts with his single. On a private jet with his personal bodyguard, JJ, a retired CIA operative, Ryan's day seems perfect until he heads to the bathroom. While Ryan's busy, JJ, ever the alert operative, realizes the air hostess has offered him a poison drink. The hostess reveals herself as a terrorist, and a wild battle ensues. JJ, despite his skills, finds himself struggling against the shockingly powerful woman. In the chaos, she throws weapons at Ryan, who's still clueless in the restroom. Just as things are about to go south, JJ's assistant Sophie bursts in. But instead of handling the situation quietly, Sophie blows up the entire plane, sending everyone flying out mid-air. As they all freefall, Sophie casually asks JJ if she can take Ryan to the homecoming dance. JJ refuses, reminding her of her training schedules. Unbothered, Sophie unbuckles JJ's life jacket and lets him plummet. Turning to Ryan, Sophie asks him the same question, but Ryan says he's already asked Olivia Rodrigo. Smiling devilishly, Sophie lets Ryan fall too. But it was all a dream. Sophie wakes up in her suburban home, where she lives with her stepdad JJ, who's very much alive and not falling from the sky. JJ, now a CIA desk analyst, lives a far more mundane life, protecting his dog and a blue fish. Ryan, too, is just a regular high school kid with no hit single, though he still fantasizes about asking Olivia Rodrigo to the dance. Sophie's relationship with JJ is rocky at best. She doesn't see him as a real father figure, especially with his constant focus on discipline and training, trying to mold her into some sort of super agent. Her mom, Kate, is on a global health mission in Uganda and reminds JJ over the phone to be patient with Sophie and figure out what she actually loves, not just push her into constant training. Meanwhile, back at the CIA, JJ hasn't completely left the field behind. He supervises a mission with his energetic analyst, Bobby, as they direct Agent Christina to retrieve critical data on nuclear weapons scattered around the globe. Christina infiltrates the facility, but an alarm is triggered, prompting JJ to advise her to abort the mission. Bobby, however, encourages her to finish it. Christina pulls it off and escapes just in time. However, a serial killer in Australia, hired by a mysterious organization, is informed of Christina's success and sets out to steal the drive containing the nuclear data. Loving the action-packed recaps? Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss the next movie breakdown. Back at the CIA, JJ is summoned by Kim Coulson, the agency's chief, who urges him to return to field duty to deal with the looming nuclear threat. JJ, however, refuses, wanting to stay close to his family, despite Sophie's apparent indifference toward him. At high school, Ryan is leading the choir in preparation for a national competition. Sophie watches him from a distance, starry-eyed with a crush. After the rehearsal, Sophie awkwardly congratulates him with an uncomfortable hug, which does little to help her cause. She then meets up with her best friend, Collins, who's busy rehearsing lines for an Italian play. Sophie brushes him off, claiming she's too busy with her dad. Collins supports Sophie's plan to ask Ryan to the homecoming dance, though he's skeptical Ryan even has the social skills to ask anyone out. Meanwhile, in Istanbul, the serial killer tracks down and kills Christina, stealing the nuclear drive. Back in the States, Sophie heads to the gym for her regular training session with JJ. When she fails a particular move, JJ tells her to keep practicing, but Sophie snaps. She's tired of the training and declares that she doesn't want to be an agent anymore. It was just a childhood fantasy, not something she wants for real. JJ tries to persuade her otherwise, but she's not having it. Just then, Sophie receives a notification. Her school has qualified for the National Choir Competition, which will take place in Italy. Overjoyed, Sophie can't wait to go. JJ volunteers to chaperone the trip, much to Sophie's dismay. Bobby, worried about JJ going soft, questions his decision, but JJ sees it as a chance to bond with his stepdaughter. Connolly, another CIA operative, offers JJ some well-meaning advice on how to relate to teenagers. The day of the trip arrives, and Sophie lays out strict rules for JJ to follow. As if things couldn't get worse, the school's new vice principal, Nancy Buck, introduces herself to JJ and threatens to demote him from chaperone to shadow tour guide if he doesn't handle things well. JJ, undeterred, tries to win over Sophie's friends, but they aren't exactly impressed by his attempts at being cool. In a last-ditch effort, he jokes about smuggling alcohol onto the trip, which only earns him more eye rolls from the kids. Things take a bizarre turn when Colin's dad, Kim Coulson, the very same CIA chief who urged JJ back into the field, arrives in Italy disguised as a pediatric nurse. He's there to watch over his son without revealing his true identity, adding yet another layer of absurdity to an already chaotic school trip. As JJ tries to navigate chaperoning duties and his strained relationship with Sophie, A global nuclear threat continues to loom in the background, with danger closer than anyone realizes. JJ arrives in Italy with his stepdaughter Sophie's school choir group, ready to play the overprotective chaperone while dodging emotional landmines from Sophie. Before they settle in, JJ gets a surprise visit from Kim, the CIA chief, who lets him know he's on this trip not just to watch over Sophie, but also to keep an eye on Kim's son, Collins. JJ tries to act like the ultimate dad figure, but his attempts at delivering a mature guide of the place end up mortifying Sophie. When she confronts him, JJ decides to give her a gift. Sophie's excitement quickly fades when she discovers the gift is a burner phone with built-in tasers. Not exactly what a teenage girl dreams of. To top it off, JJ added some tracking tags so he can follow her every move. Later that night at the hotel, the uptight vice principal, Nancy Buck, checks in on JJ, reminding him that bedroll checks are due at 10 p.m. sharp for all the nervous parents. JJ rushes to check on the kids, only to find them all partying in a room, complete with alcohol. JJ scrambles to line the kids up and pretends they were rehearsing for the choir competition just as Nancy barges in. Sophie, however, isn't amused and blames JJ for ruining her moment with Ryan, as she was on the verge of her first kiss. Furious, Sophie threatens to oppose JJ for the rest of the trip if he doesn't give her space. Meanwhile, back in CIA land, things aren't going well. Connolly informs Kim that Christina, the agent, never returned the drive, and she's gone missing. Back in Italy, the choir students perform in Venice, preparing for their next stop at the Vatican. Sophie and her friends, Ryan and Collins, hatch a plan to sneak out to Florence at night. Unbeknownst to them, the serial killer who's been after Christina's drive has been watching the group closely. As the kids reach Florence, Sophie catches Ryan's attention with goofy pictures, but poor Collins isn't too thrilled since he's got a major crush on Sophie. That night, Sophie plants a camera in JJ's room to spy on him, but quickly realizes JJ already put a tracker in her shoes. They head out to meet Ryan, but JJ catches them sneaking out. Surprisingly, JJ lets them go, on one condition. They have to return before curfew. The kids are elated and head to an ice cream shop. Sophie uses Collins to translate Italian, trying to impress Ryan, who's completely sold. But before the night gets too magical, a group of men kidnaps Collins from his hiding spot. Sophie ditches Ryan to chase after the kidnappers on a bicycle, nearly getting hit by a car, but JJ saves the day once again, appearing just in time. A picture of Collins is sent to Kim by the kidnappers, along with coordinates and a demand to come to Rome alone, or Collins will be killed. Kim relays the news to JJ, ordering him to head to Rome immediately. Sophie shows JJ a captured image of the man who kidnapped Collins, and JJ instantly recognizes him as Bishop Crane, a former colleague who betrayed his team during a drug operation in Colombia, leaving JJ as the only survivor. Kim heads to Rome, where he secretly meets with JJ and accuses him of not protecting his son. Bobby, the tech analyst, is roped into the mission too. The terrorists send a message telling Kim to retrieve the data from Aviano Air Base if he wants to see Collins again. Back at the school, the students are told that Collins went home for a family emergency, temporarily calming the tension. Kim, JJ, and the team head to an MI6 safe house, gathering the tools they need for the mission. They infiltrate the airbase, and although the security seems lax at first, they're soon attacked by a bizarre squad of trained birds. After surviving the feathery ambush, Kim and JJ meet up with the airbase colonel, who greets Kim with a hard slap. Apparently, Kim owes him $8,000 and once took his wife on a date. Awkward. Kim introduces Sophie as his stepdaughter and Bobby as his wife, which gives Bobby the chance to sneak in her first kiss. While JJ and Kim engage in an animated fight to distract the guards, Bobby and Sophie head to the data room to complete the mission. They rig the data just in time and inform the CIA of their success. However, things quickly go south as Kim and JJ realize they've walked into a trap. The mastermind behind the whole operation reveals themselves, and to everyone's shock, it's none other than the school's vice principal, Nancy Buck. Nancy had been pulling the strings the whole time, and now she's got both JJ and Kim captured. With a dangerous plot still unfolding, Sophie and Bobby must step up to save the day. Nancy reveals her master plan. She had to create a whole new character just to infiltrate the CIA. Apparently, being vice principal wasn't keeping her busy enough. She admits she used their own agents to swipe the location of some nukes, and the entire choir trip to Europe. Yeah, that was all part of her evil scheme to kidnap Kim's son. Now she's demanding the code to activate the nukes, or poor Collins is going to get it. Kim, having no choice, gives up the code. Then, for good measure, Nancy captures him and injects JJ with a neurotoxin that will suffocate him in the most inconvenient way possible. Thankfully, Sophie and Bobby track JJ down just in time. Bobby hits him with some adrenaline and atropine, bringing him back to life like a spy version of a defibrillator. As JJ comes back to consciousness, they all rush off to find Kim. Meanwhile, Sophie experiences a near-death driving adventure on her way to where Collins is being held captive. Collins, being the proactive type, tries to escape but is quickly caught by Bishop, who doesn't hesitate to try and shoot him. Luckily, JJ shows up right in the nick of time. A fight breaks out between JJ and Bishop, but JJ, still feeling the effects of the neurotoxin, isn't exactly in top form. Bobby tries to help by firing shots in Bishop's general direction, and while she doesn't hit anything important, she does manage to force Bishop to drop his phone before making his escape. After the fight, Sophie comforts Collins, and they bond over how both their dads are, spies. Collins is shocked to learn his dad is the CIA chief, and Sophie gets some major cool points for saving him. Meanwhile, Nancy drags Kim along to search for the nuke, revealing that she's working for a group of super-rich people whose fortunes were seized by the government. Turns out her husband's part of the oligarch crew, and she's bent on revenge. They finally locate the nuke, and things start heating up. Back at HQ, Bobby rummages through Bishop's phone and finds an email from Nancy revealing her plan. She's going to detonate a WMD in Rome's financial district. JJ contacts the authorities, but they quickly realize it's a decoy. The real target? The Vatican. Because, of course, Nancy arrives at the Vatican, broadcasting a message to all intelligence units, demanding $50 billion or else she'll blow the place sky high. JJ and Sophie split up, with JJ heading off to stop Nancy. Unfortunately, Bishop isn't done yet and beats JJ to a pulp. Bishop's big mistake? He brags about killing JJ's fish, Blueberry. JJ, furious, taps into some newfound strength and beats Bishop senseless. Nancy, meanwhile, manages to slip away, but Kim gives chase. Bishop escapes with the kill switch for the nuke, and JJ, back in action, races after him. Meanwhile, Sophie stumbles across two thugs disguised as guards. Using her taser and some serious spy skills, she takes them down. Ryan and Collins show up, but Ryan immediately bolts when he sees the fight. Sophie, undeterred, single-handedly takes down the guards and goes after her dad, who's still trying to get his hands on the kill switch. At the same time, the CIA closes in on Kim, but he manages to convince them he's not the bad guy, flashing enough proof to win their trust. Cue the car chase. JJ and Bishop tear through the streets of Rome, crashing into everything in sight. JJ finally stops Bishop's car, and they face off once again. Bishop tries to finish JJ off, but Sophie swoops in with her knife skills to save the day. JJ defeats Bishop, but the kill switch tumbles into the river. With no other option, JJ dives in after it. Unfortunately, his hands can't quite reach the switch, but Sophie jumps in to assist. With the bomb ticking down, they work together to solve the puzzle of which button to push. In a dramatic moment, JJ manages to deactivate the bomb, saving the Vatican from certain doom. He's brought back to shore unconscious, but after several tense moments, JJ wakes up to find Sophie by his side. Nancy, on the other hand, isn't so lucky. She's promptly arrested by the CIA. Kim, finally reunited with Collins, shares a tearful father-son moment. As JJ recovers, Sophie admits that she was terrified she'd lost him. In a touching moment, she even calls him her dad. After all the chaos, Sophie invites Collins to the school dance, and in a sweet, romantic scene, they share their first kiss while both dads watch from a spy satellite. JJ, still basking in the glow of victory, tells Kim that they could be one big happy family someday. Kim, not missing a beat, replies that JJ shouldn't ruin the moment. He introduces Bobby as his new wife, signaling that JJ's life is about to get a whole lot more complicated. With the mission complete, the kids return to school with their families, relationships strengthened by all the spy-induced drama. Well, except for the birds. Those birds were a little too intense. And just like that, the movie ends on a high note, leaving us wondering what craziness JJ and company will get into next time. What did you think of this spy comedy? Let us know in the comments below, and stay tuned for more explosive movie recaps.